What's going on, guys? I'm Johnny Jones. This is Military Transition Tips. It's been a little bit since I released a video. As of today, which is April 2nd, I've been gone for maybe about a month. The reason I've been gone is because I started a podcast. So it's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's called the Military Transition Tip Podcast. It's kind of like this, except it's way more laid back. I know I think I'm pretty laid back on this, but that's even more laid back. So if you like these videos, I think you'll like those. It's not just me talking. I bring other people on, and we cover topics. Some of the same topics we cover on here, but a much longer form. I try to keep my videos on here, under the 15-minute mark. Sometimes they go over, but on there we go well into the hour. So if you like the content here, you want to hear people besides just me talk, then take a listen to the Military Transition Tip Podcast. I have the links to the Apple and Spotify down below. But stay tuned. I'm going to play a couple of clips. If you guys like it, check them out. All right. Peace.
I think it's a unique thing that the military actually does well. So I think the shock is, especially for guys that come in when they're young, like 18, 20 years old. And so for the first part of their adult life, that's kind of the only thing that they know. And the shock of the reality is some of those support networks don't exist. Now, if you're civilian, they've just never existed. But if you grew up, as a young adult where you always had a mentor, you always had somebody to tell you like what the next step in your career should be if you wanted to get to X or Y or Z, you leave, you get out, and you don't have that.
An information section is only 1.5% of veteran population, and the non-veterans only make up 1.6% of the tech field. Only 1.6% of people in the country work in IT.
What is non-veterans? Does it mean the rest of the people?
Yeah, the rest of the population, only 1.6%. Are you serious?
Oh, I'm in the boat, man. All right.
What?
Do you get more? Would you think you get more positive feedback? And this is hypothetical. Do you think you get more positive feedback from someone that grew up in Seattle versus someone that came from another country? You being in the military.
I've gotten way more interest, right? Because I usually don't bring it up first. I never bring up that I was in the military unless they saw me park and they saw my little sticker or whatever, or they saw my tattoo, which they rarely do, either one. So like, I get interest because they've already known me or they've met me and they had an initial first impression. And then if it comes up in conversation, I might throw it out casually, but I won't hang on it like, oh yeah, I was in the military for 10 years. When they ask me like, hey, what did you do before this job? I might mention. They'll have interest. But folks that are American will kind of just not care. Did the military prepare you for your experience at school?
And this is like personal anecdotes.
This is you, man. Did it prepare you?
Did it prepare me for school? Absolutely not.
No. Expound on that, man.
No. I'm sure that this is not an isolated thing, but like many schools that I went to in the military, there was like a lot of hand holding, a lot of track gap. There was I don't know, you had to try to fail.
That's true. Yeah.
You had because everything in the military is in the branches, things are geared toward like you will succeed. Success is the only option. And they've been doing it for so long. They found a formula. They found a formula to train people. They found a way to educate people and to get that knowledge that they need into their head. And they're really, really good at doing that efficiently. University is not the same way. Sometimes you'll go to a lecture and I don't know, your professor might talk about something for a long time and you're like, man, do I even need to know this? Someone asks a question, they'll talk for 15, 20 minutes, about some research that they did, an assignment. And while yes, it's great knowledge to have, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be on any kind of exam. but it's great to have, you know, the things you learn, the lessons you take away from any given situation isn't always necessarily going to be what someone's teaching, if that makes sense, you know? So to answer the question, no, it didn't prepare me. It did the other things in the military prepare me for like being a young adult, being able to get my feet underneath me in the real world much more than I did when I was 19 when I went in? Yes, absolutely, unequivocally so.
To challenge yourself, and I don't mean challenge yourself as in find a challenge. I mean challenge yourself with that question: what is my identity? How much of my identity is me? How much of this have I gotten from the military? And is it a good thing? And I think that's something that I hope this podcast will do, and I hope other veterans will do that, is kind of point that out to people and say, is this what you want? Like, you just showed up to work 15 minutes early for the 500th day in a row, and no one has said anything to you. They expect it of you now. They're taking advantage of you, you know? It's something that we have to challenge ourselves with, is that question, is, do I like this identity?
As always, I'd like to thank you for listening. Don't forget to follow, review, and share the show with anybody who want to hear it. And don't forget to check out our YouTube, Military Transition Tips. Until next time, NTT out. Peace.